I dropped the tray when the kid's smile didn't reach the left side of his face. The fork slipped. The milk tipped, and I heard my own voice cut through the Harbor House diner like a siren. Your boy needs help right now. The dad in the corner booth looked up, slow suit jacket off, phone still in hand, like it was glued there, and he said, "Excuse me," in that quiet way men with money use when they're about to shut a door in your face. I stepped closer with my palms open, not trying to scare anyone, just trying to get someone to listen. His left arm isn't working. His words are slurring. This is neurological, call 911. He yanked the boy to his chest so fast his watch clipped my cheek. White flash copper taste. My manager slid in between us with a fake smile and a free meal apology, and the room went hush, like the floor could swallow me if it tried hard enough. I should have backed off, you know what I mean. But my brother Jordan never made it to 13 because adults shrugged at subtle, because kids don't look like an emergency until they are, so I held my ground, said the same truth again, and watched the father leave with his son, while folks pretended not to see the girl with the bloody napkin. I clocked out early, without a word, leaned against the brick, in the cold, Clearwater sun, pulled up the same search I've typed 100 sleepless nights. Pediatric stroke signs. The list I could recite in my bones, and I told myself the only promise that ever stuck. I won't look away, not again. My place sits over a laundromat that hums like a heartbeat. Alvarez had left caldo by the door with a note that said, "For strength," and I sat with a picture of Jordan in a cardboard astronaut suit, arms up like he was lifting the sky. And I remembered the day he collapsed in gym, and people guessed dehydration or drama, while time did what time does when nobody hits go. The next morning I walked into the county clinic like a woman with no invitation and too much purpose. I told the desk I wanted to report a concern, and they gave me a script about guardians and hotlines. So I sat anyway, fingers laced, eyes on an old flu poster, and the door swung open, and there he was. The father from the diner, no suit, just a gray hoodie and a face that hadn't slept. The boy shuffling beside him with his left arm hanging wrong like a coat on the wrong hook. He saw me, went rigid, and I said softer than I meant to, "You brought him," and he nodded. Head hurts. The arm isn't better. And something in my chest unclenched like air finally finding room. They called their name. He turned, then looked back and asked, "Would you wait in case I don't catch everything?" And I said yes, because sometimes the only thing you can hand a stranger is your time. They came out with an ambulance to St. Michael Children's in Raleigh. Long words, serious faces, and he surprised himself, asking me to ride along. So I climbed in the back with a boy I didn't know, and a man who didn't trust me yet. And none of that mattered, because a siren doesn't care about ego. In the rig, the paramedic kept the calm patter for the grown-up, in panic BP stable 20 minutes out, and the dad, Lucas, hunched like posture could hold the world together, whispering that his son had said his head felt funny for weeks, that he thought it was homework, dodging screen time kid stuff, and I told him the thing nobody wants to hear. Sickness doesn't care who you are. Power doesn't replace perception. You have to listen when the quiet things whisper. Eli, that's the boy, stirred and said, his arm felt sleepy. Lucas promised we'd fix it, and at the hospital the pediatric neuro team moved like one body, Dr. Sato explained, narrowing in the arteries. Moya moya. Rare, dangerous, fixable if you move, and Lucas signed consent forms with a shaking hand that probably never shakes at work. The waiting room had fish mobiles and untouched board books, and we sat in the kind of silence you can taste sharing the stuff people leak at 2 a.m. His wife Nora gone in a winter wreck. His belief that busy could cure grief, my brother. The hallway that smelled like bleach, the years I avoided hospitals because every bed looked like his, And then the surgeons practiced smile. The bypass went well, he's stable, we'll watch for swelling. And Lucas sat like his knees forgot how to be knees. And I learned what it sounds like when a father exhales for the first time in months. Eli woke up with a half smile and a brave voice. "Hey, Miss Ava, you caught me," and I told him, yeah, I did. And I stayed the night in a plastic chair with a thin blanket that smelled like dryer sheets and stubbornness. And at 3 a.m. we drank terrible coffee and told the truth, the way strangers sometimes do. And when the nurse said he was waking up again, Eli said he dreamt we were both there. And we were talking nice, and Lucas said, "We're trying," and it felt like the world tilted back into place a half inch. After that, Sundays turned into pancakes, not fancy, just blueberries and a cheap cinnamon bottle with a torn label, Eli stirring with his good hand, while Lucas learned not to burn batter laughter in a kitchen that probably hadn't heard much of it. And then the internet found the diner video. Yeah, that happened. He yanks his kid, my cheek bleeds, everybody's an expert. Half sainted me, half said. I made a scene for attention, and I went back to the harbor house anyway, because rent doesn't care about discourse. Then one night, Lucas walked in with Eli like a man going to court, without a lawyer jeans, flannel head high. The diner went quiet, and he said he wanted to order pancakes, like regular people, if that was okay. And when I set the plate down, he stood just enough to say it. I was wrong. Not loud, just true. And Eli asked if I'd come to his school play, because he was the narrator, and he had lines, and I told him I wouldn't miss it. The play smelled like pencil shavings and old sneakers, cardboard leaves taped to tiny costumes. And Eli said into a mic that love sometimes means giving away parts of yourself to help someone else. And I watched a kid who'd been so small in that hospital bed carry a room with his voice and later over pizza. Lucas said he wanted to help me finish nursing school, or whatever I wanted. And I told him what I wanted was access for the people nobody sees. The woman counting insulin math at a gas pump, the dad who thinks tired is just tired. And he said, okay, let's build that. We started with a scholarship in Nora's name for women of color, going into emergency care. People clapped under a chandelier while my throat kept catching, because money rooms always smell like something you can't afford. And then the twist hit. A glossy partnership proposal with Orbis Farms slid across the foundation table with a handwritten margin note that said, "Use Brooks as the face, her story makes it bulletproof." You ever feel your name get used like a product, like someone picked it off a shelf and didn't read the label? That was me. And when I said no, Meredith, old guard pearls tight, told me it was bigger than me, and I told her bigger isn't better if it steals on the way, and we voted, and by one vote that deal died, and then the pushback came hard. Old complaints resurrected anonymous quotes, a federal compliance letter that read like a threat dressed for church. I walked into that windowless room with a folder and a steady spine. They asked if I'd reallocated funds outside scope during the ice storm. I said yes, we paid for heat food and a legal clinic by flashlight, because the system didn't show up. And when they said that violated procedure, I told them I practiced medicine without a stethoscope because somebody had to. And if your ledgers can't count dignity, you're auditing the wrong numbers, and I laid down affidavits, receipts, names. The only woman on the panel leaned in like she remembered what real looked like. And 2 days later, I was cleared. We launched the Dorothy Fund at the community hall with space heaters and folding chairs and a hand-painted banner, because the printer jammed emergency coverage for uninsured patients, micro-grants for meds, a text line for folks too proud to ask out loud. And the room clapped soft and real. And I told them I used to think quiet kept you safe. But silence is just an unmarked door people use to walk over you. I'm loud now, but I'm not louder than you. I'm just the mic. Requests flooded in from 6 counties. A university invited me to guest lecture. A Senate committee put my name on a hearing. Orbis Farm tried one more smear, and a nurse shut it down with receipts. And back at the harbor house, A new server slipped me pie on the house and whispered, "For doing what they wouldn't, and I won't lie, I almost cried into whipped cream." People ask about me and Lucas, like love has to be the reason two people keep showing up. I don't give them a headline, I just say this. He listens now, and when his voice shakes, I keep the mic steady, and that feels like enough for where we are. I keep my bent name tag in a kitchen drawer, the B half scratched off, and when a day feels too big, I hold it. It reminds me where I learned to count change and read faces, where I learned people will talk to you like furniture until the room catches fire, and suddenly you're the only one who knows where the exits are. So tell me in the comments, who was right that day in the diner, who was wrong? Did class and race tilt the table before any of us spoke? Have you ever been dismissed when you were right, and what did you do next? Do we fix these systems from the inside, or do we build new tables and invite ourselves? Keep it honest, keep it sharp. And if you've got a story about seeing what everybody else missed, put it down there. Someone needs it tonight, and I promise I'm listening.